I don't have to do a game. Oh,
We get time.
this game recap. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that out loud?
As we watch Shohei Ohtani go deep on a large fly ball to right field, you can only deny him for so long.
We were just sitting there talking about the series and how the teams are maybe more well matched than people expected. And I was just literally just saying, yeah, I mean, if you can just kind of keep Shohei from getting real hot, the offenses aren't that far apart, and he went deep. So sorry, Maxwell. It's a tough gig pitching that freaking team.
Yeah,
Teoscar got a hanging slider in the second, yeah, and hit that out, and then Shohei right there. So Dodgers up 2-0, but again, like, this isn't the game that the Blue Jays have to win. I feel like the Dodgers need this one.
they do definitely need this one. Can our guest hear us in the background? Mark, or excuse me, can you hear us? I can't hear him still.
Oh man, he's in that oceanic research sub that went down.
Yeah. We'll see what's going on with him in a second, but
You get James Cameron on the case.
but yeah, just the off season is pretty much full effect. Well, for the Tigers, I mean, at least we haven't done a show since the third. I want to say the 13th. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah,
that's right. So there was a press conference, and then the Lions played on Monday night, so we didn't want to. No one was going to watch. We're realistic about it. I mean, as much as people are like, oh yeah, I don't like football. Everybody likes the Lions right now.
we want to watch the Lions too.
Yeah,
we
want to watch
the
Lions.
Perfectly frank.
I know our guest wanted to watch the Lions. Isn't that right? We'll confirm. Let me see if I can still hear him or not. Not sure what's going on. All right. Yeah. This is why we didn't bring him on.
Technical difficulty.
Steve sees. Nice.
Yeah.
I was expecting. But yeah, there's gonna be definitely some Skubal trade discussion as it is Jim Bouton season. Brandon, Jim Bouton season is
our man.
Yeah, our man has described every single free agent as a potential fit for the Tigers.
Yeah,
it's I don't know
anybody,
anybody
big spenders here, and that's the Jaguar Shark. Excuse me. Okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna hear about that.
Yeah, so he projects. I mean, this is a guy who's projecting a $427 million deal for Kyle Tucker.
Really? Wow, yeah. I didn't even look. To be honest, I've been like asleep at the wheel for the last week or two. I give myself like the second half of October off. Everybody's already like written half their like off-season articles, and I'm like, man, what are we gonna do in November, boys? So I'm kind of just cruising along with it. I've got a whole bunch of stuff in the hopper. I'm writing about the farm system and the pitching and all the injuries and the last two draft classes. I've got that. I've got the Tarik Skubal article. I've got Scott Harris sucked this year and needs to be better. I've got that one coming. So that's where my mind is at. It's a little bit more big picture at the moment. But yeah, I mean, sure, the Tigers, could sign anyone. What do we have? Like $69 million starting payroll next year?
Yeah, they could. I mean, it's the thing about it is that like I'm with you here. Like admittedly, I haven't done my really in depth. I did a Skubal article last week where I went kind of like why do you need to re-sign him because of the numbers a little bit. But other than that, I'm with you. I'm kind of like on cruise control, and I don't mean to be for everybody on our Patreon out there. I just personally have a lot going on. I started a job. The wife's gonna be going under knife at the end of November, so there's just a lot just juggling right now, and I just don't how it is at the end of the season. You just don't want to do anything. I mean, it's
this is how it goes. Yeah, I'm like dealing with leaves and tried to golf a couple times and get out fishing one more time, and oh god, the whole summer's gone. I was too busy. I missed most of it. So yeah, there's a little bit of that goes into the first couple weeks of the offseason for sure.
Yeah. Can you do a mic check for our special guest? Nothing. You still?
Yeah, I don't hear anything. I don't hear a thing. He's out there. I see him.
Yeah.
He looks good.
I wonder if he has to just reset his computer completely.
Yeah, maybe there's just some kind of audio driver action that's out of whack or something.
Yeah, reset that. But no, it's it's just a matter of like just the way things have unfolded this offseason already for the Tigers. It's not even just already; it's a foregone conclusion. It seems like Tarik Skubal's gone. But Jerry's working on an article too about some of his numbers that are outstanding. And what was that? That was weird. You hear that?
No.
Okay. It was on my end. But no, but yeah, you have to pace yourself at this time of year. But Thursday is, of course, our meeting of the Detroit Baseball Association meeting.
Oh, right on.
So, yeah.
Is that like sort of like the end of year get together?
Yeah, end of year get together. We cast our vote for Tiger of the Year. I went a little bit off the grain a little bit with mine.
You can't preview it here for your loyal fans?
I will say this. I voted for Riley Green. Voted for Riley Green. I don't know what Chris is going to be there Thursday. I'm not sure. Chris will not be able to be here today, but I voted for Riley Green simply because of the numbers he did put up. I understand that Tarik Skubal is a slam dunk, but he's going to be winning all the other awards. I'm sure he's going to probably be winning this one too, more likely.
Yeah, probably. One would expect, yeah. And there shouldn't be a second Cy Young coming right along shortly. I'm gonna beg to differ though on the question of Tarik Skubal getting traded. I think the odds of Tarik Skubal getting traded are like 20%. And my reasoning is that of all the teams that could even afford him, like, no one is like the Pittsburgh Pirates aren't obviously trading Connor Griffin for him just so that they can have him for a year and not be able to afford him. So it has to be a team that can afford him, that has $400 million that they're ready to shell out. They have to have the farm system because there's no reason for the Tigers to trade him for two like back of the top 100 prospects. They could probably get almost that much at the trade deadline. So I actually think it's a pretty narrow thing, and I honestly just think it comes down to the Mets. Like the Dodgers could put together some kind of a package to get him, but they don't need him right now. And there's no reason for them to trade, DePaula or Hope or anybody like that. They don't need to. They can just wait a year and then just outbid everybody if they want to. The Yankees don't really have the prospects. Like I have a hard time putting together a package there that really, really excites me. Maybe the Phillies would go insane and trade us like Painter and, their top shortstop prospect. I can't remember his name at the moment. Maybe, but the Phillies don't spend quite that kind of money either. Like maybe they'd blow our minds. It all just seems to come back to the Mets. And I see some people already talking about it. And that to me is the only real path here. If they want to give us McLean and, another really good prospect, maybe the Tigers consider it. But we were dealing with Scott Harris here, and Scott Harris's basic philosophy is to not do things. Scott Harris doesn't like to rush. Scott Harris doesn't want to do risky things. I don't know. I'd be very surprised if he ends up trading him unless the Mets come calling and just absolutely blows doors off with an offer. Maybe someone else. I mean, the Red Sox could if they wanted to. They've got enough young talent to make that happen. It'd be kind of funny if, we ended up with Duran and Marcelo Meyer or something. I don't really see that happening. So, yeah, I mean, that's what it comes back to me is that, the Tigers have all the incentive in the world to just try to win with him. And, if it's not going well in the first half, you should be able to get more than you got from Jack Flaherty. And you can also hold the qualifying offer and the comp pick over teams' heads. Like you've got to beat that by a lot because otherwise we'll just ride it out. So that's kind of, I don't know. That's kind of how I'm just laying it out for me. I mean, if you've heard of let's see here, I'll put it more daintily than F, marry, kill, but screw, marry, kill. I mean, extend, hold, trade. I think they're going to hold them. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe, the Mets are the perfect case study for a team that could make it happen because they're insane. Their owner is insanely rich. They're desperate. They signed Juan Soto. They didn't make the playoffs. Francisco Lindor is not getting any younger. They could make a crazy, crazy bold move. I think that is a possibility, but otherwise I just don't really see it happening.
Yeah. And here's the thing too, the reason why, as far as the Mets go, I mean, I was thinking about maybe trying to be crazy and a team like I don't know, the Reds or something like that would come out of nowhere to do it. Only because it used to be a case where a team that would be that confident to go, yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
They'll give up everything, but they know full well that Skubal might be the missing piece. I'm just seeing the Reds as an example. I'm not saying that's going to happen
Yeah.
because I don't see that happening. But there's teams out there that are like that. That used to be the case, but I don't see that.
I mean, the Cubs, maybe could put. I just don't know if they could put together the package. But they're losing Kyle Tucker potentially. They kind of need to make some kind of a big move. But yeah, again, like all those are like a very narrow window. The only one that really like cracks it for me is the Mets possibility.
Yeah, and I don't think the Dodgers, as much as they have prospect capital, I don't think they have enough prospect capital for. And I think the Dodgers maybe don't like dealing with Harris based off the previous experiences.
Yeah, maybe. And they also have a problem in that, like, what if they traded like DePaula and Snell, and then like some secondary pieces to us? Then we have Snell. We're paying like what 4 more years at a reasonable ace rate, like probably less than Skubal will get, but we're not committed to the 10-year deal. They get Skubal, they immediately extend him for 400 and whatever insane amount of money he ends up getting. And then we've got the prospects, and we haven't lost, and we still have a strong lefty in the rotation who's kind of a veteran leader who's been there. The problem is Blake Snell has a no trade clause, no doubt, and I wouldn't be terribly surprised if Detroit was on such a list. And I'd love to trade Skubal for Roki Sasaki and DePaula. That'd be awesome. But they're not going to trade Roki Sasaki. They just got him. They're not trying to break up the Japanese Voltron that they're building. And so I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of money tied up right now, or at least a lot of clicks tied up right now in believing that Tarik Skubal will get traded, and everybody and their brother trying to put together like the most oddball, creative, interesting trade package. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
That's fun. But it doesn't bear any relationship to reality. Like in most cases, probably not. It's just a hot topic. You put Tarik Skubal trade in your URL, and clicks are guaranteed. And I don't want to run things that way at Bless You Boys, but everybody's got to do what they got to do out there. It's a tough business.
Yeah, I mean, I even like I did a piece where it was like contradictory to it, because I just felt like at the time, and I still feel this way, that unless there's some sort of like concrete thing out there, but I just don't believe Jim Bowden half the time, because half the time he's full of crap.
Yeah, Jim Bowden is odd. Like sometimes he will nail some of like the free agent pricing. Like sometimes he's better than just about anybody in that. But I don't believe like what he hears is in terms of rumors. Who's talking to Jim Bowden? Come on.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You think he knows what Harris offered? Offered Skubal last offseason, which we shouldn't talk about too much because it'll make me very angry again.
Yeah, that whole thing is utterly ridiculous. It's just, I mean, I just think it was kind of stir things up a little bit and make the Tigers look as bad as possible. And look, the Tigers already have that going for them without his help. But
yeah,
speaking of the Tigers, by the way,
John Heyman said the same thing, and Evan Petzold confirmed it. So, if I have to believe that Scott Harris offered 4 years and less than $100 million for Tarik Skubal, then I kind of feel like Scott Harris is incompetent and should be fired.
Right.
But I don't quite think that he's insanely incompetent. So maybe that was just we got to have a story in the media that says we tried. But that's kind of where I've eventually shaken that down to, is that they made an offer that they knew he would refuse, so that they could say they made an offer. And they were a bit naive in thinking that Scott Boras wouldn't, release the specific information to everybody right away. Like, look at these jokers. So, I mean, you can't tell me that they offered him 80% less than Garrett Crochet got.
Rookie mistake on Harris's part.
Start getting real upset.
Speaking of the Tigers, real quick, with involving an interesting thing that Lynn Henning tweeted out the other day, that Tigers are apparently letting go of Andrew Graham, allegedly. And so the thing is about that is, you and I have talked about this before, Brandon. We don't know how Henning gets his sources. I don't know how he does.
Yeah.
That being said,
we used to know.
Yeah, we used to know, but now we don't.
In the early years, we knew for sure.
Yeah. But as far as there any truth to that, Tigers are not saying anything. Seawolves are not saying anything. I mean, the hiring of Brian Pena back in the organization would indicate something's on the horizon, but
So with Anthony Iapoce, leaving as the first base coach.
Yeah.
We've been talking for a long time that Gabe Alvarez is going to end up on AJ Hinch's staff. I don't know for sure if that's going to happen this year, but clearly there's going to be some shuffling, in the managerial ranks, and we don't know based on what was said, even if Andrew Graham is like leaving the organization, or if they're just going to, move him to a different role. We don't really know. Like maybe they move him up to Toledo so that he has the same guys again. They kind of did that with Gabe a little bit. Kept him in Erie for.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that was a nice play.
Yeah, no, Andrew Kirk.
Oh, I'm behind you probably.
Oh yeah, yeah. There he goes. You'll see it there in a second.
I was watching a highlight literally.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Now you see it. Yeah. So 3-2 Toronto in the top of the fourth inning right now.
Hey yo.
Yeah, ayo. But yeah, Toronto's making a series out of this. But I like what Stan says here. Jim Bowden is a very successful creator of content. Facts don't matter. Content matters. No, you're absolutely correct about that. And I think the thing about with Graham is Graham did a really good job, all things considering. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to tread carefully here with this because I think he might see things one way and the Tigers might see things another. It comes with like player time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, let's just.
you know where I'm going.
Yeah, let's just be vague about it. I mean, there was just some sense that there was some disagreements in the organization sometimes about how pitchers should be prepared, for the major leagues, for AAA versus AA. Like the Tigers, are really, really kind of like baby soft with their pitchers. Like they don't push anybody. They're careful about their innings. They don't like a team to see them start twice in the same series. They don't like putting them in awkward situations. They like to pull their starters. They don't like to bring guys in, in relief necessarily in the middle of a jam unless they have to until those guys have had more experience. I mean, there's a certain philosophy like in the lower levels that you see there that, I mean, doesn't seem to be working. Like guys are getting injured left and freaking right. But, all I can really say with no specific detail is that, I mean, there are disagreements about how guys should be developed, and that's always going to happen. There's always going to be different takes on that. So I don't really know if there's anything serious going on there. I don't know if there's going to be an overhaul in how they're developing pitching or their personnel. But what we can say is that, like, basically everyone they drafted out of high school over the past 3 years is injured and didn't, barely pitched at all. Like we saw Owen Hall, like briefly enough to take like a team photo, and that was it. Paul Wilson, Ethan Scheffelbein, nope.
Yep.
Zach Swanson, elbow. There were guys like Anthony Dunford, Jonathan Rogers. Had some brief showings, and then they're gone. So that those two draft classes, all those guys are very young. There's no reason to panic necessarily, but it is disturbing that so many of them didn't pitch at all. And we've barely gotten any of those guys out of the complex league yet, which is something I'm writing about. But, I mean, if you're looking for like a flaw developing in the Tigers' ability to become the pitching factory that we all need them to be, and keeping in mind that this is a team that graduated Jackson Jobe and Troy Melton both this year, so we can't you can only ding them so much. I mean, that's pretty good. But the next wave is certainly questionable. Like the guy that raised our eyebrows the most was Kelvis Salcedo, who no one was even thinking about at the beginning of the year. We're talking about Andrew Graham. Andrew Graham had most of his pitching staff injured, or in Jaden Ham's case, just velocity down, not as effective, kind of struggling to develop the third pitch, some of those type issues. Jake Miller was gone. He lost Melton pretty early, and they still made a pretty good run at making it 3 straight in the Eastern League.
Yeah. And for the record, this is what it reminds me. The injury, if you're familiar with X-Men, the comic book at all, this is what the Tigers injury list look behind you, like Slain, a brand, like just
a lot of suspects.
A lot of suspects. Yeah, just a lot of like, I'm making an obscure reference there, but it just reminds me of that. It's just a series of, and we've been looking into it. Chris has been looking into it. Ashley was out in Arizona, who has done a really good job. Congratulations to her. She got in the scouting program over there in the Arizona Fall League. She's part of a very small group of people that were selected to scout, and she gave us a really good scouting report on Kenny Suero that's going to be up here shortly.
Oh, cool.
And so
that's really neat doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool, and that's very, very cool for her to just kind of be able to put things in a scouting actual report and how they format and everything. It's a lot shorter than what people think it is, and so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, here we are now. Over the last couple weeks, Troy Watson's getting that development hype because
Yeah.
the Tigers, as the arms go, that kind of wasn't in the trading deadline, Brandon. I think that the Tigers could not do what they wanted to do at the trade deadline because of so many injuries to the arms. I mean, I think that is, you look at it if you look at it top to bottom,
Yeah.
if teams are going to ask for pitching, that's all they're
Yeah.
going to ask for.
Yep.
You have your guy in Jaden Ham losing velocity. You don't have Jake Miller. Troy, Troy at this point, Troy Melton's up in Detroit, where he was still in Toledo. Was he still? No, he was in Detroit at the time.
He
right?
was, but they were depending on him. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we all were. We were talking about him in April. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
this might be the guy who bails their punk ass out.
Yeah, and that's where I think that limited. And I'm not saying that's an excuse for Harris. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But that does, if you go to the fact that they had to, I guarantee that Mikael Ashman was not on the table at all. But because he was the only healthy available pitcher.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Josh Randall, wasn't like lighting the world up or anything like that, but talented college pitcher, like kind of if this guy's stuff, bumps up a little bit, all of a sudden you've got yourself a pretty legit arm right there. RJ Sales, good fastball at least. I mean, when you see what the teams came and picked through, they took some of those lower tier guys that we like the best. And they came through the season with, Lucas Ellisalt, who could pop, and a couple other guys. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's all those guys were injured. Like all those guys that you would use as trade chips were down or just struggling. And, I mean, as much as anybody, I would have liked them to, turn Jace Young or Justin Henry Malloy or even Hao-Yu Lee into a good pitcher for the Tigers this year. But that's not what teams are looking for, unfortunately. And if we're like, just to cool a little bit of the Max Anderson hype that's going on out there, like, I don't think you could have got, David Bednar for Max Anderson. I don't think teams are looking at Max Anderson just by the stat sheet and going like, oh, God tier second baseman about to hit the show. I mean, I like Max, and he's probably going to have a future role on this team. He might be like Andy Ibanez's replacement. He might be a full timer who really figures out how to pull the ball in the air more, starts doing damage, and all of a sudden you've got yourself an everyday player. We'll just have to see how it goes. But he just got to AAA, didn't set the world on fire there. So we'll see how that goes. I kind of digressed away from the main topic there, but yeah, I mean, the Tigers didn't have like a whole stockpile of like super hot young pitching prospects that they could just flip for whoever they wanted. It's that much is certainly true.
Mystery guest, you want to do a check on talking the mic?
Audio check. Check one. Check two.
Check two.
What the heck is going on? We got to send our boy some new.
Yeah. Our mystery guest is maybe just use the laptop. Just straight up pull out the headphones and.
Yeah. I don't know.
Nothing. Usually because I haven't listened to off stage feeds, so that way I can listen to people as they come on. So no, and the thing is, you look at this list here. We're gonna go rapid fire here in less than a second. Hopefully, once we get our guest on, he can add some to fill in the details. But you were saying something that struck a chord with me about as far as like just the amount of the injuries kind of set aside, what have you. But I look at the Anderson, Lee, Cruz. Dare I say even Cruz? I'll throw Cruz in there and McGonigal. I did an article about that a couple of weeks ago because I was looking at some of the advanced statistics with Anderson, and his numbers are very comparable to Jace Young. Mm-hmm. Lee has some, little numbers that pop out a little bit with more at bats. Trey Cruz is up there too, but again, small sample size.
Yeah.
What you have to consider is what teams look. I'm sure Jace Young might have been shopped around. Teams were like, nah, we're good. Yeah. And it's the same, like Max Anderson, this is the first year that he's been healthy. This is the first year that he's put up these kind of numbers. So I would, if I'm a team, I would be kind of skeptical about that too.
Yeah, and I mean, like the only thing I have and this isn't like against Max, but the thing I'm waiting to see is just for the swing decisions to improve. Compared to Jace Young, Max Anderson has the hands of a goddess and, controls the bat and makes tons of contact and doesn't just kind of like, look in his zone and swing for the fences the way Jace sometimes will. Max Anderson's different in that way. He's got a lot better, like pure hit tool, better hands. And it's just a matter of like, can he do enough damage? Because, he's not going to do a ton else for you. He doesn't really have like Colt Keith's high OBP type guy profile. Colt Keith hasn't hit for the power he's supposed to hit for either, of course. I expected Colt Keith to be hitting 25 home runs a season by now. Hopefully he'll get there. But yeah, I mean, I like Anderson more than, we could talk like Justice Bigme if we wanted to really low end him here. Justice Bigme put up really good numbers, hit the ball really hard a lot. But if you're not doing damage, no one cares unless you're, a really good defender to key position, or you've got, something else going for you, speed, something. It's just hard to break through as contact, high average type guy. And that's, like Trey Cruz's perspective is that if he hit for a little more power, Trey Cruz would have a long career as a utility man in the league. And maybe he will anyway. I mean, he is 27. But that's right about the time that Zach McKinstry started kind of figuring out how to, survive a little bit and thrive a little more in the major league. So maybe he can do that. But of the whole group, Kevin McGonigal is the only sure thing coming next year in my estimation.
Yeah, that's no doubt. Special guest, can you try talking to Mike again?
Dang, it's a bummer. No.
I'm sorry. Like I was gonna say, I'm not sure if it's the headphones or whatever the case is.
That's too bad, because if me and Mark getting into a friendly argument about anything is good for, good 15, 20 minutes of content, easy.
Yeah, man, more like 30.
We love each other, so we can throw the punches too a little bit.
Yeah, Mark can throw some haymakers at you, and then you guys can go back and forth. But no, and Cruz, look, I'm probably the lone man on the Cruz's could be a major league player. I think he is the pedigree is there. Do we expect Ibanez not to be non-tenured? I think so. I think there's going to be some changes with that, where you have the players the Tigers have the players eternally to let Ibanez walk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to circle all the way back to the Skubal question, like that's the addendum to the hold and keep Skubal is that, all right, well, if you're going to do that, you need to do a lot better job, like building the roster around him this year and not blow, $55 million like Scott Harris did last year on guys who were, zero WAR combined. That wasn't good. I didn't hear him talk a lot about that in the postseason press conference. I'm surprised he didn't address that a lot more in detail. But Scott Harris had a bad year, a very, very bad year in certain respects. Like bringing back Flaherty was fine. Nobody had any beef with that. And, Gleyber Torres was a good pickup on a 1-year deal. That was a smart move. There's nothing you could do about Torres, having a hernia down the stretch and struggling. So those two things went well. But again, like you can't blow a third of your payroll on guys that you get literally nothing out of. And between Cobb and John Brebbia and Tommy Kahnle, and then taking on the final third of Morton and Paddock's contracts and a few other ill-advised decisions. Like it just, the Tigers don't have the payroll to just eat $55 million every year without getting much out of it. So, that's the other crucial part of it is, I'm still game to sign Alex Bregman. I got no problem with it. You're just not going to have that many opportunities at a free agent that good that really wants to come here and fits. Now you can look at the Arizona Fall League and okay, Kevin McGonigal's playing a lot of third base. Max Anderson's playing some third base. Maybe their plan is just to, stick Kevin McGonigal at third base to start the year. Colt Keith plays second. Max Anderson, if he hits enough and works his way in, he spells Keith a little bit. Or maybe McGonigal plays some shortstop when it's a tough right-hander and Javi Baez is out of the lineup. You can operate in all those sorts of ways. I would still just say, like, get me the player. Get me Alex Bregman, especially since they've already decided they're not extending Tarik Skubal. Like, I don't see any world in which the Tigers suddenly pivot and offer Tarik Skubal $325 million just to at least get a seat at the table and start talking about it. I'm still going to be pushing the pushing the Bregman button, and Scott Harris is still going to be like, "Yeah, we're just going to call up our guys, and we're going to sort out the pitching, bro, and it's going good." I mean, there's a future in which like the Tigers are really good again in another 2 years, but without Tarik Skubal right now, this is an 81 or 2 win team.
Yeah.
And they might be a little better than that if they do the right things and Harris, builds a better supporting staff than he did this year. And McGonigal comes up and does Kevin McGonigal things by say the second half of the season, has settled in and is raking. But that's what you need. Like they have power. What they need is two like pure awesome hitters who in the postseason won't strike out, will come through with the big hits. And to me, that's the type that McGonigal and Alex Bregman are. Kevin McGonigal is like a young left-handed hitting Alex Bregman, if we want to put it simply. So yeah, I mean, I'd still be game for that. And yeah, I mean, if you're not going to trade Tarik Skubal, then well, you better try. You better try, man. I don't know, like maybe that will. I don't know. Maybe that just ends up with them like replacing Andy Ibanez with a player they like a little more, has a little more juice, and then they sign a mid-tier starting pitcher, and then try a different reliever or two. I don't know. Would you be game for bringing back Finnegan?
I'd bring back Iglesias, and I bring in Devin Williams because of the try-me deal. So there's 21 names. Jim Bouton put out 21 to 22 names for Tiger free agent fits. So let me go ahead and what I'm gonna do, Brandon, is I'm gonna say the names, and you just basically say yay or nay with a sentence or two about why yay or nay. So,
oh God. All right, I'm totally unprepared, but go for it.
All right, I think you're more prepared for this than what I think than you realize here. So, Kyle Schwarber.
Let's hope.
Yeah, Kyle Schwarber.
No. I love Kyle Schwarber. It'd be fun to have him, but unless you're getting him for like a year and trading Torkelson, I don't know. And even that doesn't really make any sense. Okay.
Yeah.
God, I love you, Schwarbs, though. It'd be fun to have Schwarber.
Schwarbs. Yeah, as Chris would say, Schwarbs. Bo Bichette. I like that, but it's not happening.
Yeah, would love Bo Bichette, but at this point, like the Blue Jays are going to turn right around and be like, all right, we're keeping Bo Bichette, and he'll get a big offer from them. I'm game to like kind of try it, I guess, but.
So next one up, and this is a pretty us across the board universal yes, please. Alex Bregman.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Give me my tiny Ian Kinsler.
What about Ranger Suarez?
But yeah, I mean, I'd be interested for sure. He's probably going to cost a bunch, but
yeah.
I mean, I can't argue with it. The thing about that too is I wanted them to get another lefty, even if it was a starter at the deadline, because they needed another lefty. They needed a lefty that can strike some fools out. That's not Tarik Skubal. I was hoping that the Braves would make Chris Sale available. That would have been perfect. You just kind of baby him down the stretch, turn him loose as your counterpoint to Troy Melton as the multi-innings demon reliever. So yeah, I mean, if they can get a lefty starter who's good and has the strikeout numbers, that would be gold by me.
All right.
What is Dave Dombrowski going to do though? Holy God.
Yeah, he's got some problems. He's got a lot to figure out here. He's also got rumors about Bryce Harper not being.
Did he? I mean, did Dave Dombrowski call Bryce Harper a B word? Dang. I can't believe. I honestly cannot. That's so un-Dave, honestly, to do that. Like if it comes to uncompetitive players, like Bryce Harper's name is about the last one to come to mind. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. That was odd.
That was really odd. Let's see here. So, by the way, Suarez is the only lefty on the list of the names that are mentioned on here. So
Bryce going up every moment. Then
So a trio of right-handers in Dylan Cease, Zach Gallen, and Michael King. Everybody likes Michael King, and he's been mentioned in the chat quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I would very much like Michael King for sure. I don't, some smart teams have given Dylan Cease a crack. I mean, I don't hate the idea if they've got something that they really think they can help him with. I mean, it's better than most of the other fifth starter type dudes Scott Harris is going to go after in my estimation. At least he's a project. I don't know. I'll put that as a possible, like, maybe.
Zach Gallen, That's actually wouldn't be a bad idea, but I think they might have to retool him a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a pair of pair of Suarez, Robert Suarez, and then Ingenio Suarez.
No, I don't think so. Like
No.
Suarez is exactly the type of hitter we don't need more of. Although I love Gino,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, probably not. Robert Suarez would be awesome.
Yeah.
Again though, paying top
Cost.
dollar for an elite reliever or at least a top shelf reliever is just not in their mo. Unfortunately, I think we're going to end up with Justin Verlander and and a new utility third baseman and then a couple of relief projects is what I'm afraid of.
You know what? Look, I'm gonna get to the. Well, let's just go through relievers real quick. Devin Williams, I wrote a write up on him today. I like Devin Williams, and I think he would be a good fit here, ideally because he's the extension guy. The Tigers love guys with big extension,
Yeah.
and I mean, yes, he is a fastball changeup. That's all he has, but his changeup's really damn good. But it got hit up a little bit this year. There's some little pause concern, but I think Devin Williams with the K per nine numbers that allow you bring him invest,
Yeah.
and then you maybe bring back Finnegan.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. That's not bad. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Devin Williams. I mean, it was just a weird year for him. But I think if you put him in Comerica Park as opposed to Yankee Stadium, he's suddenly going to look a little better. And it was mostly command, and it was like fine degrees of command, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if they think they can sort him out, I don't. The Yankees are pretty good at the major league level with coaching their pitching. Not a great development org for pitchers, like not bad either, like solid. Maybe a touch above here and there, but yeah, I mean, I'll say that's a decent possibility at least.
Yeah, you know what's interesting too? His road splits, by the way, are actually he's better at home than he at Yankee Stadium than he was on the road. He had an
Yeah, that
ERA
was odd.
5. That was
Yeah,
really strange.
yeah. And then, and there are some home run parks out there. Obviously, like Camden Yards isn't what it used to be as far as being a big home run park, but you also have the Rays playing in the Kitty Stadium and stuff. I don't know. I haven't looked deep enough into the numbers yet to really break that down. But that's what it comes down to is can get Devin Williams back in the zone a little bit more, and will Comerica Park help him keep the ball in the park more? Because if you
Yeah.
think like those two things kind of come with the deal, and then you can refine him back into a little bit more of the command artist he was in Milwaukee. How good is Milwaukee at developing people, by the way?
Oh my god.
We need to go poach some Milwaukee Brewers development folks, in my estimation, about now.
Oh yeah, they're in terms of pitching too, and even some of their infielder development. Like just
Yeah,
they have a couple guys that were
seem to do it right.
in high A that were just outstanding hitters, just really good contact hitters. And yeah, that's a really good call there. And that's why the Brewer. I mean, granted they got swept by the Dodgers, but at least they got themselves in the postseason. Ryan Helsley.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You sound like you had to talk yourself into that though, a little bit.
No, I mean, like there's the first instinct is like what I would do in a perfect universe where I had a large payroll and would do whatever I want. And then there's the like, okay, but in the realistic situation that we are in,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Ryan Helsley is not a bad idea at all.
Mm.
Not a great idea, but not bad.
Brad Keller.
Yeah, I mean, I put that in the same kind of category.
Yeah.
It's like, if you trust Feder and Lund to get a little bit more out of him and clean a few things up, then yeah.
What about Tyler out there? Is it Molly? Malley?
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah.
I can't really. I don't know. Honestly, I'd have to look.
Yeah.
Tyler Mahle has not been my study much, I'm afraid. Seems like in the Tigers like range of people they would consider, but yeah, I don't really know. I'd have to go. I mean, I'm gonna go when it comes to pitching. I'm gonna go super deep nerd style and be deep in the IVBs and breaking down everybody's command with each individual pitch and all that. So I'm not super comfortable saying much about Tyler Mahle, I guess, right now.
Yeah, and here's a future Tiger for you. Here's what I think is going to happen here.
Right.
If you go Barkerman, Hae-Sung Kim.
Yeah, I mean, if he's got another year with Atlanta, right? Isn't that correct?
I believe so, but I think he has a player. Maybe he has.
Oh yeah, he has an option though. Yeah, that's probably right. I mean, I think that's a great call because that was like the first thing I thought of when I said to myself, "Just sign freaking Bregman, you idiots!" And then I thought, Oh yeah, you know what they'll want to do is get Ha-Seong Kim.
Yeah, no, I remember you mentioned that last year, like that he would be a future
Yeah,
Tiger, and it just made when you said, I'm
that
like,
kind of is like the Andy
yeah,
Ibanez upgrade. Like,
yeah,
really good defender, makes a ton of contact. Doesn't do as much damage as you would like. But yeah, but would fit this roster. Certainly, could totally see that. Could
yeah,
totally see the Tigers being like super stoked about that too, and like going really hard after him and overpaying or something.
yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, for the record, Mark said I've never had a problem recording before.
Yeah, that was odd
Yeah, that was odd. Sorry
because
about
we
that.
could see him.
Yeah, and every time he was trying to talk, we couldn't hear him, and so I'm not sure what the deal is.
Hmm.
And it could be my faulty. It could be the equipment. I'm not his end, on my end. So we'll see. Anyway, but those are some of the names that he brought. The rest of the names, it was just whether they bring back Flaherty or not, or Liber Torres.
It's up to Jack,
Yeah,
and I assume Jack opts back in probably. Had a solid year, and the thing about Jack Flaherty is that the reason he could never get anything more than a 1 year deal before is that the injury history was so lengthy, but now he's got 3 years in a row where he's out there throwing 175 innings or so, and being fairly consistent. He's still not a guy that you want to probably lock up into his mid-30s, but I could maybe see him getting something more like 2 years, 45 million, maybe something like that, but is that enough for him to test free agency right now, or is it better for him to just take his whatever it is, 25 million from the Tigers and just come back for one more year and see how it goes? I don't know. He seems to like it here.
yeah. And
Everybody's
I was, I was gonna say he seems like a really straight up guy with everything in the media and everything too. So I don't know.
Yeah, and he did what they needed him to in the postseason as well, and kind of came out of the bullpen and was good when they needed there, and gave them a decent little short outing, but you know like still kind of more of like a depth starter piece, not really the frontline guy that he was, last year. Unfortunately, that was apparently kind of a one-off.
Yeah, and then those as far as like the rotation goes, I think that you want him to opt in only because you look at the other. Melton's gonna be slotted back into the rotation. You don't know. Brandon. My question to you about Reese Olson is this guy gonna ever throw more than 125 innings again?
Yeah. Yeah, it's becoming a bit of a problem because it seems to be the same thing every year. So, either there's something that needs to be worked on in his training in the off season, or, you do have to start thinking about, like, is it better if Reese Olson just goes out there and throws 97 mile per hour sinkers and is a reliever for you? I don't think we're at that point yet, but there's nothing wrong with a guy that goes out and throws 120 innings and is, fairly good, but it's obviously not the upside that we were all looking for either. So yeah, it probably comes down to next year. Like, they've got to try to find a way to keep him out there a little bit more.
Yeah. You want to try it again? See if he's speaking to the mic.
Now I'm having computer issues. What's going on? Something's
Yeah.
infecting us.
Yeah. You know what? Let me see if I can do a refresh. All right. I just do this again. Did that work?
Yeah.
Yeah, Brandon, you're gone. You're completely gone.
You can hear me, but I'm gone. All right.
Now I can't hear you. What the hell?
I'm going to have to restart this thing,
I can
dude.
see you talking.
Yeah. So you can
Got
see me,
levels.
but you can't hear me. Huh. Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
All right, we're experiencing some audio issues, folks. I'm gonna have to switch back to StreamYard. I don't know if I can do this studio thing anymore.
Yeah.
This thing's a piece of crap.
All right. I'm going to try it again.
All right, well, folks, not sure what's going on with our audio right now. Okay, so he can hear. Okay, so everybody can hear you, Brandon, but they can't hear. I can't hear you right now. So I'm not sure what the deal is. Try this refresh again. Sorry, folks. All right. Well, I'm not sure what happened here, folks. My the issues on my end. I'm not sure what's going on. Brandon's off completely. Mark, can you hear me at all, or can you speak? Yeah, so we're gonna have to call it a night, folks. Sorry about that. We're having some audio issues, and I'm gonna have to switch platforms. This platform, I'm done with this platform. We'll go back to StreamYard. So, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening, and again, apologize for the audio issues. And we'll talk to you soon. And well, yeah, I'll make up for this. I promise, folks. Have a good night.